Okay guys, so I'm sorry for all the cursing lately, but if you lived in my life, you would be cursing too, trust me. Because the gay stalking and the psychological torture is non-stop. The direct energy weapons, I'm throwing up now. Headaches, massive headaches. And of course I can't prove it, and they're gonna call me crazy because you can't trust anybody. Because even if they're a skeptic, if somebody's skeptical of my story, I automatically assume that they're part of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I've coherently explained every facet of my reality and explained multiple factors and explained every detail coherently of what they're doing to us, and especially me. And they just reject it immediately because they're afraid, which we got to understand. Like, of course they're going to be afraid. But they don't understand that even if they're in the little club, they don't understand the devil is the father of lies. So if they really think they're going to be safe from what is coming on the earth, they think they can hide in their bunkers. They think they can hide in their mansions. I'm telling you, it's not going to work. In fact, let's set a scenario that I've seen right now. So let's say we have 20 rich Luciferians, right? And tribulation comes upon the earth. And we all know, it is coming soon. Tribulation comes upon the earth. The sudden destruction of the world is upon us. And these 20 Luciferian rich people, they have everything: ammunition, food for years, gardens, bunker, all this stuff. You know what's going to happen in that bunker? All 20 of those Luciferians are going to turn on each other, and it's going to be a bloodbath. They're all going to die in that bunker because of themselves. So that's one reason you should never trust the devil. Plus, the devil cannot afford our souls, because he might be able to copy God in everything he does, but it's impossible for him to pay the price that Jesus Christ paid. He could never pay that price. That's why he envies him so much. It's not a rebellion. It's the fact that he is so weak that he calls rebelling against a moral authority strong and like a revolution, when in fact that's the opposite of truth. Because if you have ever studied morality, psychology, philosophy, you have to study all three of these things thoroughly, extensively before you can even say you believe in God, and before you can say you're an atheist. If you don't study these three things, then you have no opinion. Your opinion matters not, because these three things explain the facets of reality and they're an attempt to explain what reality is and the purpose of life and the meaning and what is existence and physics and particle physics and quantum physics, and you know what I'm saying? There's so many different philosophies that if you don't study at least 10 of them, then why should anybody listen to your opinion of reality? Of course you're an atheist if you haven't studied psychology, you haven't studied spirituality, you haven't studied philosophy, and of course you're an atheist if you haven't studied morality. Because if you haven't studied morality and you end up going through a bunch of pain and suffering in your life, there's no rational reaction, there's no rational outcome that exists where you believe in a higher power, because at that point you don't even know what morality is. So you don't even believe in a transcendent morality, let alone a basic objective reality, objective morality. So yeah, but sorry, I just wasted 3 minutes talking about nothing that really matters that much. Just giving you more excerpts of the future. But listen, so Job, right? Everybody talks about Job, but nobody ever thought about this. I've never heard anybody talk about this, and I was just praying to God. Well, more like talking to God, like angrily asking for answers. And of course, you never really get like an audible voice, you never really get nothing, but you do get these like weird dot connections, like dots start connecting without you even like looking anything up. It doesn't even really make sense, but if you know, you know. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about, right? There's a light. I'm gonna stand under this light and talk. But yeah, so Job, right? Everybody in his life thought that he sinned so bad. They thought he did something so bad that God had cursed him, right? But nobody ever questioned, were the people around him of God? Because how could somebody of God tell him? Because think about this, all his friends, his wife, they told him to curse God. But yet, no true follower of Christ would ever tell anybody to curse God, because they know the sudden wrath and destruction that could come upon them and they know about eternal damnation. So why would anyone who really follows Christ tell Job to curse God? That means everybody around Job at that time was working for the devil. Everybody around Job was working for Satan, because only the devil would not only accuse Job of creating committing a crime that was so heinous that everything in his life would just be completely dismantled, shattered, and systematically collapsed, right? So if you're being destroyed, right, and these fake Christians are telling you that you did something wrong, that's a sign that they're working for the devil, bro. Because think about it, unless you actually did do something crazy, like unless you know, a weirdo or like did something weird, but most of us ain't done nothing but try to speak the truth, right? So listen, everybody around you, if they're telling you that you should just give up on God, you should curse God, if they're trying to cause a moral crisis in your life, they're of the devil. That's confusion. The devil's the architect of chaos and the author of lies. Obviously, everybody knows that. And so Job, nobody really told me this, that Job was the only one in his situation that was truly with God, or was the only one that God was truly with in his whole area. He was blessed, and everybody was around him. They loved him when he had the money, when he had all the vanity. Everybody around him loved him. They loved him. They ate from his plate. They took from him. They worked with him. They interacted with him. But as soon as God let the devil test him, where did they go? They all disappeared, right? They all disappeared because they were never truly living for God. They were truly living for the world. They were living for the devil. And yeah, so God just gave me that wisdom. Also, last night I couldn't sleep at like 2-3 a.m. and God gave me this verse, Jeremiah 7, which I never even heard of. Jeremiah 7, I never even read it. And of course it was about wisdom, and it was about God giving Jeremiah wisdom. And you guys should read it because there's a lot of very controversial excerpts in that verse. Some things that talk about women, how God, it says in Jeremiah 7 that God found one good man out of 1,000, but didn't find a single good woman out of 1,000, which is crazy. Because of course everything they tell us is that women are good, women are nurturing spirits, all this stuff. But then you find out, like, did you know 80% of divorces are created or are orchestrated by women? And the women win everything. They destroy a man's life, all because they're not satisfied in 10 different boxes that you have to check. But listen, which I'm not hating on women for wanting to have satisfaction, but it is kind of selfish if you think about it. But that's not even the case. What I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is, why is every married man that I see, he's looking miserable, he's looking weak, he's looking fat. These women got to be working for the devil to destroy the man and make him docile. Because, bro, when I walk around in my town, every single married man I see, the woman's in perfect physical shape, the man is not. And you know what happens when a female and a male are in a relationship, right? The physical physique, your physical appearance, is actually 80% of a dominance hierarchy. So that doesn't make sense the way I said it, but look, what I'm basically saying is, the man, if he's not in better shape than the woman feels the need that she has to dominate him, because it's just a biological fact. Biologically, any animal feels superior based on a physical makeup. So yeah, this is biology, not even psychology. This is just, well, the two are intertwined. Biology and psychology are actually philosophically intertwined, which most people are never going to admit, but it is what it is. But yeah, so married men are being destroyed systematically, black, white, Asian, whatever you are. But systematic oppression is taking place only on people that are a threat to the system, people that are not afraid to die for the truth. So if they know they can't buy your soul, if they know you're not going to compromise willingly, if they know they can't bribe you, if they know they can't get you to shut up by just destroying everything in your life, then they're going to take you out. You have no choice but to get taken out. So if you're watching these videos, to the 10 people that usually watch it, maybe think about this. Maybe think about what you're doing and ask yourself, are you ready to count the cost of what it really means to follow God until the end? Because even myself, I question, am I gonna have the strength to truly get on my knees and be decapitated for the truth? Because if God doesn't give me the strength to do it, I'm not gonna be able to do it. But yeah, sorry I rambled all over the place, too much on my head. I ain't got an hour to speak to y'all. I ain't even got the Wi-Fi to upload an hour video, or I would just drop an hour video every night. Because I can't talk to humans about this type of stuff, because they don't listen to anything unless you have resources. They don't see intrinsic value in human beings. They only see intrinsic value in physical reality and what other humans can provide, what they can benefit from. That's why I stay away from everybody, because I don't want to participate in a transactional relationship, because that has no meaning. That's just worthless to me. It has no internal value at all. It only has value to you only have value to these people if you can benefit them, but they will never benefit you. You know what I'm saying? So all people ever do is take, never give. That's why I've decided I have to stop giving and just take what God gives me and just keep it for myself until God puts me in a position. Now, will I ever keep information? Will I ever keep the wisdom that God gives me away from people and monetize it? Never. But will I just give somebody the resources that I have in physical reality now, ever again? Never. They're gonna have to be literally suffering right in front of my face visibly, and I'm gonna have to use discernment to see if it's real suffering or if it's an act to try to get me out of my resources. Because human beings have become corrupt and explicitly evil, and it's getting worse every day. It's getting worse every day. And if you're a rich person watching this, of course you don't know what I'm talking about, because you live in a fairy tale land. You live in a world that is not even a real world. All of us that are in the real world out here, the real matrix, where we're being destroyed by our own economic class. We're being destroyed by our own economic class. Your economic class, everybody participates, partners up, clicks up. That you guys are all together. Us, we're all being divided. So, you know what I'm saying? Y'all are living in some kind of fairy tale illusion. Every time one of us starts to climb the economic ladder, stops consuming, and decides to try to actually get out of this, everybody in our economic class teams up to try to take us down and destroy us even more. It's another part of the devil system. And yeah, so if you're a rich person, you need to wake up and stop living comfortably. I'm not saying give away your money. I'm not saying giving away everything you have, but you need to start training every day. You need to start shooting, training, fighting, fasting. Fasting is going to be the most important thing if you want to survive the tribulation that's coming, because you won't be able to shop for food. You won't be able to get anything to eat. You will not be able to have anything unless you obtain the mark of the beast. And it's coming a lot sooner than we think, because they're lying about the inflation. They're telling you the truth that inflation is outpacing wages. So you think they're going to tell you the real truth, that inflation has actually surpassed outpacing wages? It's actually at a fact that's going to cause economic destruction and collapse across the whole globe. The whole globe is going to get rid of the dollar. Everybody's de-dollarizing, and there's actually no way to stop it. So y'all better prepare. If you're rich, you better start getting physical assets, gold, commodities, things that you can trade, bullets, ammunition, food, garden, all this stuff. Why should I listen to a homeless guy? Probably because if I wasn't telling the truth, my life wouldn't have been destroyed.